Hello and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me in another of my little chit chats. As you can see, I don't have a studio anymore because I've taken that to bits, and I'm sitting here by the boxes of my book Biggleswick, The Town That Wouldn't Comply. And thank you very much for those people who have already leapt up and bought a copy. It's very kind of you. And just before I get on to the main subject, I just want to say, firstly, thank you. There is a couple of people who have paid via PayPal, but they forgot to put their address. So it's very difficult to send a book out to somebody who hasn't put their address. So if you are using the PayPal link, do put your address in and then I can actually post it to you. There are a few issues with posting overseas because the tariffs of posting to places like America and Australia, New Zealand, Canada and Europe are all different, and I'm trying to sort of negotiate that. So please give me a bit of time whilst I get all the different tariffs in. And then there's like, you know, people might buy 1 or 2 books or 3 books and of course then the weight difference and everything else, and it depends how they send it. And in certain places there's duty to be paid, which I have no idea what that would imply, and I think that's down at the other end that the recipient has got to pay. So it is a bit of a minefield, but that's the problem when you try to publish your own book and do it all yourself. It's a very personal service, and I appreciate that people are so used to these big commercial things they might be a bit impatient, but it's only me doing it. And I'm writing the envelopes and I'm writing the inscription and the dedication, etc. in the books. So it may, you know, there may be some mistakes and it may take time. Anyway, enough of that, but thank you. I'm so overwhelmed that people want to read the book, and I'm thrilled. And I'd love to hear feedback, of course, about what people think. I want to talk about the land, and I know this is a subject that for a lot of people, they find it, oh, it's a bit boring now. He's not frightening people, that Richard. We like it when he frightens people and tells us what's about to happen and, you know, what we should be doing and all of this. But I don't think it's a sensible thing to frighten people, because a lot of those things that we talk about or have talked about haven't come to pass or are very slow. And actually, there's lots of things you can do about it. Mostly is ignoring it. If people ignored, on the whole, a lot of the stuff that was coming down the pipe and said, we're just not going to get involved. If the vast numbers just ignored all of these diktats, then they couldn't impose them. We forget just how powerful we are. And all the time we sort of pull our forelock and go, oh yeah, righto, I'll do whatever you say then. That's all digital ID, righto, if I've got to have it, I'll have it. And of course it's all sold at our convenience. So going back to the land then, and as you know, Julia and I are doing our experimentation on the land, trying to grow things, trying to cut a wilderness into something manageable, but is still respectful to nature. And this is an arduous process, a learning curve. We're going to make mistakes. We know that. We are making mistakes. We don't have huge amounts of money, of course. And like so many people, we are enjoying it. And really what I wanted, the message, I suppose, or the content or the subject that I want to sort of get over is working the land, which I know isn't for everybody, and I'm not saying everybody's got to get up and get a parcel of land and all that, but the experience that we've had in the last few months is working the land and going back to an analog world is just so rewarding. The hard work, yeah, people have said, oh, Richard, in your age, you know, most farmers are giving up at your age. Why would you want to do it? You should be, you know, in your dotage sitting there watching Netflix and things like that. No, thank you. Actually, it keeps you fit. It keeps you active. It keeps the brain alert. You're solving problems. You're using your hands. You're breathing fresh air, as fresh as it is when they're not chemtrailing it, of course. But you are outside. You are doing things. You're solving problems and riddles and getting over things. You're getting your own fitness levels up rather than sitting there. And it is amazing how you can work with eating very little. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't eat, of course, but a lot of people have been sold this idea of 3 square meals. Well, actually, Julia and I find ourselves so involved in what we're doing. It's so joyous, even though sometimes things can be frustrating. You're going, oh, why can't I fix this? Or why can't this work? Or why is this so difficult to get to? Or whatever it might be. And then you sit down for a break and you might, we'd take some sandwiches or we'll take some food, farm shop food with us, sausages and things that we'll either cook or have already cooked. And we find that actually we don't eat terribly much, so we're not putting on weight. We're actively burning up those calories. Our blood is pumping around the body. But the analog way of doing things physically, being in the moment, in that moment now, looking at things, and then suddenly you'll be distracted. We've got some pheasants which come in on the land and they strut about. I've called the male pheasant Fezzy. Big pheasant, Fezzy. He's got this little red and blue little head and he sort of struts up and down. And then his lady, she comes flying in occasionally and she'll sort of rush around. And occasionally he'll look at her and go, right, I'm after you, young lady, and goes chasing her. And you get distracted by bits of nature. We've had robins. They're coming around, dropping around, very close, within 2 meters. And they're sort of looking at you going, hello, what are you up to? It's just so rewarding and joyous, that connection with nature. But the analog way of getting out of those digital, sitting behind screens and all of that is wonderful. And I think the more, it goes back to the point I made earlier on, the more that one takes yourself out of the worry, out of the concern, not listening to mainstream media. Yeah, the so-called authority figures in their jurisdiction are implementing what they would like to do. But if more of us just either did not know about it genuinely, and that's why I don't watch half this stuff. I don't know what's going on in the world anymore. I don't really care because my world, the world I see through my one eye, is a different world to what most people are. And so I'm not worried about these things. They don't seem to be impacting me. And these implementations of things like digital IDs, in the end, if everybody is just saying, do you know what? I don't know what you're talking about, mate. No, I'm not going to do that. I'll just carry on doing what I'm doing. Now, some people will say, but, if we all did that, if we all ignored technology and advancements, then we wouldn't have half the wonderful things that we have. And they'll say it's a progressive society. And I always say, when people say it's a progressive world or progressive society, I say, what are we progressing to? What is this end point that we are aiming to get to? Because it does seem that the convenience route, to a certain degree, is useful, but then it seems to be more convenient for those who would impose upon us. And that's where I start thinking, no, I don't want to make it convenient for them that all my data, all my information about me is kept in a central place, that I have to use central bank digital currency, I have to have a digital ID, that I'm being surveilled and all of that. And if enough people just turn around and say, do you know what, that's not the progression I want to get to. For me, life is about finding out things and being happy. And on the land, solving the problems, climbing up the ladder and trying to put the felt roof on a workshop that you're building, or digging out a pond, or trying to get things to grow, and watching nature all around you. That to me is thriving. Now, it might not be for you, it might not be your thing, but there are people who, they restore old cars or traction engines or historic things, or they collect things. There are things that make people happy. And that's really what our pursuit of life ought to be. This other stuff which gets in the way, the paperwork and the digital stuff and all of that, the more we just say, no, I'm just not doing it, thank you, the more difficult it will be for these systems to be imposed. Because in the end, if people just go, oh, well, you know, if I have to park here and use that, well, either I won't park here at all, or I'll park here and sod it. Send me the bill and I won't pay it. Because what crime has actually happened? You've parked your car to go to the shop, you know. It is bonkers. And if we kind of accept the authoritarian and we allow them to railroad their stuff across to us and just go, yeah, righto, that's what you want, oh, I'll do it then, and moan and grumble about it, then we are just at their command. But just, I mean, that's why I think not paying them the attention, just ignoring them. And if they start talking about digital IDs and CBDCs and all these sort of nasty things, just look at them blankly and just go, I don't know what you're talking about. Thank you, goodbye. I don't know what you're talking about. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm living my life, not your life, mine. Sorry about the West Country accent there, but sometimes it is worth just ignoring the nonsense and carrying on with our lives. And that's what Julia and I are doing, and we're thriving in it. Thank you so much for purchasing the books. If you have, I've still got a few left. Yes, thank you. And just give me time to get them out. And as I say, it's a very personal service. You will get them with a little inscription. Till next time, take care and thank you for watching.